Nick Pollard is Managing Director of Navigant Consulting's global construction practice for Europe, the Middle East and Africa. He's got a new report on construction risk with him, and he also advises the UK government on transport. Great to have you with us, Nick. How crucial are government infrastructure projects like this to your industry at a time of dire economic situation?
There's no two ways about it. The investment in infrastructure is a key plank of the construction industry's efforts, whether you look here in the UK or whether you're looking further afield at any of the countries that either are developed or developing around the world. Government spend is always a big part.
Has it kept you alive? Because the industry activity is down 44% since 2006, correct?
Yes, it is. And construction faces another tough year again in 2012. I don't think there's anybody that's forecasting some kind of rapid recovery here. It's going to be a slow and steady, crawl back to levels of activity that we've seen in previous years. But the construction industry has a critical part to play in the recovery of the country as a whole. And your report on this is part of that, And
actually in December, it did a good job. It actually hired some workers. It expanded activity in December. But you say that's not going to continue necessarily.
Well, there's always humps and hollers as projects come on or off. You look at the 2012 Olympics, and the UK construction industry and the client there have both done a fantastic job, delivered on time, on budget, in fact, ahead on both.
Why has that been ahead on both at other projects? I mean, the construction industry is notorious for delays, cost overruns.
Well, of course, that's exactly the stuff that this report that we've just produced in conjunction with McGraw-Hill and Pepper Hamilton is looking at. And there are some key factors around that job. The way that the industry worked together. The companies worked together more successfully. They collaborated. They were involved earlier, typically, by that client, who I think took a very wise and pragmatic approach to the management of the job. The disciplines were there. The risk management was there to control the project and keep it on track.
So everybody's got to work together from the get-go to prevent delays and cost overruns, is what you're saying, effectively.
That's undoubtedly part of the
What else did you find? What else can help mitigate the risk?
A stack of stuff. There's got to be clear leadership for starters. Companies have to understand the importance of risk mitigation. And what the report's found is that only a small proportion of the industry properly exercises those kind of talents, those kind of skills, those kind of techniques. So there's big opportunity if the leaders in the industry step up to the plate on this and make those kind of changes.
And do you think that if people adhered to these findings in your report, that the construction industry would get a better reputation and therefore perhaps get some more work?
There's no two ways about it, but it is both sides of the equation. It's not just as if contractors aren't performing. It's the manner, too, in which clients choose to develop and procure their schemes. And that's part of the problem in solving this. It needs all the parties around the table to work together in a disciplined manner to produce good results that are reliable and provide best value for money. There's significant opportunity.
I just want to come back to this high-speed rail project. Just give us an idea, as someone who's been in the construction industry for a long time, the complications involved. Just how difficult is it to get a rail running through the countryside? I mean, we all know about the dreaded planning permission that you must get when you want to put an extension on your house, for example. It's tough.
You've only got to look at the timescales for this. The first section, I think, is 2026. And you've got to ask why it takes us that long in the UK. Government's been working on this to try and reduce the length of time in planning applications. But it's actually about the whole process of planning and consultation, of design and project development. But that's where the opportunity lies to cut the risk out too. So getting the front end right is the real opportunity on this rail line, and that's where the effort needs to go in over these next few years.
Okay, Nick Pollard, Managing Director of Global Construction at Navigant Consulting. Thanks for sharing your report with us this morning.
My pleasure.